Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So, outside, what am I doing out here? Well, giving this fine gentleman a bath. Steve had a lot of metal and crap all over him from porting the heads and doing all that other work in there in the shop. So I was like, yeah, I may ought to clean that up. So, actually, middle of giving Steve a bath, but there's another reason we're giving Steve a bath. Mainly because his brother Big John's fixing to come in here and get a bath too. So today, there's actually a free car show. I guess maybe you can call it a cruise in. I don't know. Down in the, there's a town just south of me, about 25-30 minutes south of me. And there's a automotive technical school or technical college or something like that. I don't know, vocational school. So their automotive department does a show every spring where like all the kids that are in the classes and everything, they have to bring their rides. And then it's wide open to whoever wants to come. So I've missed it the last couple of years and usually find out about it like Sunday after it happens. So this year I've been extra vigilant. And I did see where it was coming up, and it is today. So getting Steve washed up. As soon as I finish getting Steve washed up, pull Big John around here, and gonna get him scrub-a-dubbed. So then we'll head on down and see what this little show's all about, and hopefully it's a good time. So I do have Crook coming over, and he's gonna swing by. He's gonna drive Steve down. I'll drive Big John down, and yeah, it ought to be a good time. So anytime you can get out on a Saturday morning, 7:30, slight cool breeze, and flip-flops and shorts, and wash a couple vehicles, it's a good morning. No, I love going to shows. I like seeing what other people's done, and I like showing off my crap. So anyways, I guess that's what we're doing today. So I'm gonna finish cleaning up Steve, and then get Big John back here, and then I guess I'll catch up with y'all either at the show or on the way. So we'll see y'all here in a bit. All right, we are en route to the show. So I got Crook, look in the mirror there. Crook's back there. So headed there. Got a little convoy going. Got Caden in the back driving the Trans Am. And I don't know much about that car. I just know it's Crook's brother's car. So maybe we'll dive into that guy a little bit later. It sounds healthy, but I don't know what all's been done to it. So anyways, I guess we'll see you there. All right, folks, out here at the Spotlow Automotive Technology School car show. So got Big John, Steve hanging out with us, and just do a quick little run, show you some of my favorites out here. So I'm not gonna show all of them because that is a lot. I don't know how many's out here. I don't know, 150, 200 cars, so, and trucks. So I'll show you a couple of my favorites. All right, folks, so it's just a few of my favorites out here. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of the day and then get back to the shop and get back to work. So we'll see y'all there. All right, folks, back at the shop. I got changed into my shop clothes. You know, got to keep the nice clothes nice-ish. So, today, we're not going to do a ton in the shop today. Mainly time. And then I've got to get working on Big John to get him prepped for next week's Battle in Bama trip. So I figure what we'll do today is, again, a couple things I've never done. So learning as I go here. We need to polish this crank out. Got to get all those journals polished. Get that ready to go. And then we've also, or I guess we don't have to just yet, but I might as well since we're here. And, you know, Steve's out of the shop. Got plenty of room for activities. I guess we can pull the connection rods off the pistons and get those guys ready to go for the new pistons, because hopefully here in another week or two, I can get the new pistons on the connection rods and have the motor ready to go. So that's kind of what my plan is for today. Maybe something else if time allows. We'll see. Yep, that's about it. So I guess I'm going to get, what are we going to start on? I guess we'll start on the crank. Let's do that first. So I'm going to get that guy drug out, get all my pieces and parts I need for that. And then I guess I'll be right back. All right, so we got our crank. It's still actually attached to the flex plate. Just set up my little temp bench here. Put a couple clamps on it, one on the front, one on the back, because we're going to be, you know, polishing on these guys, especially up top here. It's going to want to walk a little bit. We want to keep it from doing that as much as possible. So what I did with this guy before, you know, we stored it, or, you know, set it off to the side, basically. I gave this guy a shot, pretty heavy shot of this fluid film stuff. And it sits on there. I didn't want this thing to flash rust or do anything like that on any of the journals, so I coated the hell out of it with this fluid film stuff. This thing looks like the day I set it over there, which was, you know, just a few weeks ago. But you know, even though it's been sitting over there, it's still gotten a little bit of crud and crap on it, just dust and stuff floating in the air. So we want to make sure and clean all that off prior to getting in here and polishing on these journals. So one other thing I think I'm going to do is that big nasty burr right there. Golly, I may knock that guy down a little bit, but or at least knock it off. Jesus. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna shoot this guy with some brake clean and clean all the crap off of it, clean all the fluid film off of it, and then we'll get started. All right, so now we're cleaned up, got all the fluid film off of it, and just kind of, you know, wiped it down, make sure there isn't any, you know, grit or anything hanging out on the journals. You know, we went over this before. These aren't in really bad shape. There's just a couple spots on a couple of them that were, you know, slightly, you know, groovy, I guess you could say.
Groovy, baby.
Yeah, I think there's one like right in here somewhere. But there's not anything really, really bad on here. Not enough to really justify taking it to a shop, you know, machine shop, and getting them to turn it down, you know, turn it down a little bit, and then I have to get oversized bearings or something like that. So what we're going to use is some, this is some 5000 grit. It's actually, some people call it emery cloth. You know, this is, it's called this is a wet dry sanding pad is what it says actually on the box. I just picked this up at the O'Reilly's. You know, it's got a little cushion to it, and, you know, it's nice, but it's only a 5000 grit, so it's extremely fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece out that'll fit, you know, basically inside the journal, and then wrap all the way around. So, because what we want to try to do is get coverage for the entire thing, you know, in one fell swoop. So that way, whenever we're sanding on this guy and buffing on it, it's all getting the same pressure, getting the same, you know, basically it's all getting the same treatment at the same time. That way we can try to avoid, you know, even on a minute scale, egg shaping this guy or doing anything weird. So yeah, well, I guess we'll work on this guy since it's kind of, you know, right there, right up in my face here. So we'll just kind of start right here. And then once we get the first one done, we'll just move down and up and all that stuff. So let me get this figured out real quick, and then we'll get to, you know, we'll get to actually working on this. So first things first, we're gonna give this guy a shot of some WD-40. We're gonna take this guy and we're gonna wrap it around, kinda. We'll set it like that. And then you just want a little bit of rope. I've actually got some mule rope that I had back from my pulling fiber days. So I got some mule rope that's just kind of left over. And so what we're looking for here is to wrap this guy all the way around. See if I can't do something to hold that in place. Probably could have used a shorter piece of rope. And this is all we're doing. So we'll give her a few passes. I'm guessing I could probably cut this down a little bit so it's not such a nightmare to deal with. And then now with just a couple passes, that looks a little bit better. So now we got that done. We can take a quick peek at it and just check and make sure that everything looks good. I don't have anything catching my nail. It feels very, very smooth. And it looks very, very uniform. That's kind of what we're looking for. We don't want to sand one spot more than the other. So that's the reason for wrapping the rope around it, to try to get pressure across the entire face of this guy all at one time. Give it, just a few. And like I said, these aren't that bad, so we're not having to like really, really work it. So just a few passes and we're good to go. So yeah, that works out really, really well. So I guess I'm going to move on to the next one. Now this would work out better if I had a second body here to kind of stabilize the crankshaft so it's not wanting to walk on me. But yeah, I figure once I get up top here, I may have to put this on the floor and stand on the flex plate so I can do this. But for, these lower ones where I can just throw a knee up, should be all right. All right, let's see what that looks like. May have to reset and do that one again. Yeah, we'll have to go back over this one. All right, well that looks a lot better. So, and again, it's pretty uniform. Nothing really catching a fingernail. So, like I said, this thing's not bad. So there's not a whole lot of grooves that really got to get wore out of this thing and run through it. So I guess I'm going to go through and finish out these I guess, the rod journals. I got 2 more to go. So I'm gonna finish those up. I may shift over and go ahead and do the main journals. Let's see if this one's gonna work. Yeah, that'll work good enough. May go ahead and do the mains. Let's see, how are you looking? Oh, perfect. So anyways, I'm gonna get through this and I'll be back in a few. All right, so that's done. You know, I wasn't gonna film all that. That's kind of boring to watch me sit there struggling to keep the rope moving. Finally got it done. I don't know, it took me maybe 45 minutes, something like that. I did have a few that, like our main, let's see, the very front main, this guy. This one was the only one that I remember us looking at going, ooh, because it had one that'd catch a nail. But it wasn't catching it by much. And you can kind of still see maybe right around there, right at the top of my fingernail. I don't know, you might cannot see that. But yeah, it's still, I mean, it isn't catching, but you can feel it. But I ended up having to go over this guy with 3,000, because I'd also picked up some 3,000 along with the 5,000. So I ended up going over this guy with some 3,000 to try to clean that up a little bit better, because it used to catch a little bit more than that. It's still a little high right there. Still got a little catch in it right around in there, but that should be okay. But yeah, went through, got all these journals polished up, and yeah, with the rope, it's a struggle, because it'll bind up, it'll start slipping on the sandpaper or the emery cloth, whatever you want to call it. So it is a little bit of a challenge, but it's doable. It's just a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, got that done. I'm pretty satisfied with these guys. Now, one thing you don't want to do is go, all right, that is all right, we're good to go. Because now you're like, okay, well, I just got done sanding. And granted, it's not big chunks of metal, but it is little bits of metal, teeny tiny little pieces. You don't want that crap running around through your oiling system, especially on a motor that you're rebuilding. So best thing you could do is get you some brake clean, shoot it down through the journal passages, the oiling passages. Go ahead and get those guys shot clean. Go ahead and just soak the whole thing down, you know, brake clean the crap out of it. Try to get all the little metal shavings and stuff back off of it. Get all that cleaned up as best as you can. Like I said, I'm going to take brake clean. I got a little straw thing. I'm going to shoot it down in all the little oil passages. Make sure that there's nothing just kind of hanging out in there. Then I'm going to spray the whole freaking thing down. Get some fresh paper towels. Wipe it back down. Make sure it's good and clean. And then I'll probably go back and shoot it with another shot of fluid film. Probably going to be a couple weeks before the crank's ready to go in. And then whenever the crank's ready to go in, then we'll go back through the process of cleaning it off with brake clean and getting it prepped and ready to go in the motor. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do real quick, and then it'll get parked till it's ready to go. But crank's polished, ready to rock. I guess next thing to do is yeah, we got 8 connecting rods to break loose from old pistons. So we'll get on that here in just a moment. Alrighty, so got my pistons and rods kind of organized, ready to go. So trying to keep track of these because I know orientation is important. So they're actually kind of easy to figure out where everything goes because we have a valve relief, just one, which is great because on each cylinder that goes to the upper right corner of the cylinder. I actually went back through the video where I tore the motor down just to verify because I wasn't 100% sure. So went back, verified that. So upper right corner of each cylinder is where my valve relief is on the old pistons. I did go back through, you know, all these rods are stamped. So like this one, well, of course it's upside down, but you can kind of see there's a 7 there. So that's my driver's side, and then this is passenger side. That's number 8. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there. So these are already stamped. I'm guessing previous people stamped it. So it's already been stamped, so I don't have to worry about that. But trying to make sure that we keep the orientation on the connection rods, you know, make sure they're pointed the right direction. As apparently that's an important thing. They look pretty, you know, universal, but I guess they have maybe a slight curvature to it or something. I don't know. All I know is, yeah, if you put them on backwards, then you got to get the wrist pin back out and risk damaging the new pistons and all that stuff. So we want to try to document and keep track of where everything's going. So, like I said, each one of these are stamped on the end cap and on the connection rod itself. So I got an 8 there, I got an 8 there, I got a 6 and a 6. So they're all stamped, and luckily enough for me, the people that stamped them use their noodle. So they actually stamped them on the outside edge of every one of these. So, you know, if you imagine this is, if you're looking at the block upside down, you know, you got everything connecting up to the rod or the crankshaft here in the middle. They sit, you know, this is not to scale. But, you know, they'll set something like this. Well, we've got our numbers marked here, and then we got our numbers marked here. So they're both pointing to the outside of their respective sides. So that's easy enough to remember. And it's like that on both sides. There's no marks on the inside of the piston of the connecting rod. So that way we can tell which side's what. So we know that our stamp side goes to the outside of the engine block. So that's kind of the way I'm keeping track of it in my head, and now on film. That's also, I wrote on my little piston box here, you know, the number is on the rod. Number on the rod points out. So it points out to the side of the block. So that's what we're going to go with. And then, you know, hopefully we don't get stuff all sorts of screwed up. I did go through, because I didn't have my my bolts on the ends of the caps here. So I did go through and just kind of put the bolts on there so the caps don't fall off and get damaged or lost. And then, like, I had misplaced a couple of the nuts. So I had to go hunting around. I found all of them finally. But yeah, I went ahead and just kind of cinched these guys down just so nothing's going anywhere. And I guess now I've got to find a socket that'll fit down on the wrist pin. And then I'll have to come over here and kind of clear a little spot out so I can actually get to my press. Now, if you don't have a press, I've seen people do it with hammers. You can heat up the connection rod. You know, you don't want to get it too hot, but if you heat it up a good bit, to where that metal starts kind of expanding a little bit, and you can tap it on through with a socket roughly the same size, or, you know, if you're really lucky, you can find a piece of steel stock that will fit down inside the wrist pin and be small enough to catch the outside edge and, you know, center it and ride it all the way back through. I don't think I have anything like that, so I'm gonna dig around. I don't think I do. So we'll just have to be extra careful as we're pushing the wrist pins out so that we don't go crooked or we don't mar up the inside of the connection rod. Like I said, I don't think I have a piece of rod that's big enough for that. Yes, insert joke here. But I do have plenty of sockets, so I can throw a socket on there, and hopefully we can make sure it doesn't, you know, get off track a little bit and really, you know, hose something up. And maybe I have a socket that I can, you know, donate to the cause and you know, clean it up a little bit to where it'll slide down in there. I don't know if I have one like that, but I'll see what I got. So yeah, I'm gonna go over there, clean out some crap so I can get to my press and find something so we can start working on pressing these wrist pins out. So be right back. All right, got everything set up over here at the press. I threw a light in so, you know, maybe we can actually see what's going on here. So basically just setting my, you know, my little dies, I guess you would call them. Just kind of setting them up so the piston kind of just sits in there. Once it starts getting pressure, it ought to, you know, we can actually hold it as it's, you know, getting ready to go, to make sure she's sitting fairly square. I ain't worried about these pistons, you know, they're trash anyways. So as far as the wrist pin's concerned, actually, let's walk over here where there's other pistons. Yeah, went digging through the toolbox trying to find something that would work, and I ended up coming up with this guy. This is a 3/8 inch, 1/2 inch drive impact socket, and you know, she's tapered, so it fits just so nicely right down inside the wrist pin. And the outside diameter of this guy is actually just, I mean, it's tight, but there is a gap all the way around. So my thought is this guy ought to center pretty good on that, and then as that, you know, as the press pushes down, that should push it right on out. So that's what I'm hoping. So let's see how she do. And I'll go ahead and apologize. The angle on this probably won't be all that great. Maybe I'll flip the piston over. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe you'll be able to see a little bit better then. But let's see what we can do. All right, so I got this little piece of square tubing. Just kind of, this is pretty level. It may be just slightly off, you know, off angle just by a touch. Shouldn't be a big issue. I figure once we start pressing on this wrist pin, that ought to, you know, straighten her up. If not, we'll wreck something and we'll figure it out and deal with it later. So anyways, all right, so 3/8 1/2 inch drive, impact socket, slide her down in there. Yeah, so you can see it leveled that right up. So, all right, I guess nothing to it but to do it. I don't know if I should shoot a little bit of WD-40 in there or what. I don't figure it'll hurt nothing to put a little bit in there. All right, let's crank her down, see what happens. Well, I got her pushed through, but I kind of got my socket stuck. I'll go bang this with a hammer real quick. Try to knock my socket back out. All right. Well, now we got pieces. So, yeah, it looks like I went ahead and pressed this in a little too far, or it got stuck on the inside of the wrist pin, which I'm thinking is what happened. It sat in there and it got pinched in. So, but wrist pin's out, socket's out. Now, having these dies set up the way they are, obviously I have boogered the hell out of these pistons, so these pistons are shot. But that's okay, we already knew that. But, as far as I can tell, as far as I can tell, the wrist pin came out just fine. So, nothing got boogered up on it. I don't feel any burrs or anything on the inside of it, so the connecting rod looks to be okay. So I'm gonna take this, go throw it back in the box, and get the next one. No. Wait. Wait. All right, so I'm gonna close up. I'm gonna use the smaller side of this guy. This isn't so much there for support now. Trying to keep it from, you know, blowing the piston up, since I almost took a piece of piston in the face. So let's see what happens now.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
I just bent that rod. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the footage. Yeah. I don't know if I did this or if this was actually like this and I just never checked it. Crooked actually told me, hey, you need to double check them rods, make sure they ain't bent. Yeah. I never really looked at the rods to make sure that they weren't bent. And this guy, is, you know, there's not so much a problem, you know, here or maybe here.
Not here or here so much, but right here.
Definitely a problem right in here, you know. Yeah, that's no good. Guess I'm getting new rods. Jeez, man. All right. I don't know if I caused that. I didn't have anything pressing down on this end of the piston or this end of the rod. There wasn't anything here. I didn't even put anything up underneath it. And you can tell I was pushing from this side. And looking at it, it's centered in there. It is a little bit crooked up here, but it's pretty centered in there. And I'm not making any contact with... Yeah, not making any contact in there. So I don't see how getting this guy twisted would end up making this guy bend, you know, right in here. So yeah, it got a little crook in it. Damn it. Well, I don't guess I got to worry about pulling wrist pins out now. I'm gonna, I guess, see if I can't find some rods. You know, why not at this point? So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let me do some hemming and hawing on this, and I'll get back with you. All right. So just went back through, rewatched the footage of this piston. Yeah, that's my fault. Dang it. Yeah, so what happened, you see what happened was, so whenever the piston, you know, broke, yeah, once it broke, especially this side, it was, I guess, able to sit down just enough to where the pressure on the you know, the bottom plate, the big pieces over there, yeah, it had enough pressure right here to where when I was pushing on it, it just went weep. So yeah, my bad. Awesome. So I don't know what to do right now. These are the joys of learning how to build a motor. Yeah, so awesome. I don't know where to go from here on this, so I think I'm just gonna stop. And I guess I'm gonna start hunting and see if I can't find another set of factory rods. You know, see if I can't find some local. There's probably some floating around out there somewhere. Also go ahead and price out and see what I can't find. You know, Jegs and Summit and all that. See if I can't find some rods that I can just slap in that are just ready to go, and I can just pitch all these. Yeah, not 100% sure. So I guess I'm gonna get on that, and then kick myself in the butt for that. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna get on that and see if we can't figure something out. Yeah, that's awesome. Anyhow, nothing else but a few more bucks, I suppose. So like I said, I guess I'm gonna hunt around. I'll see what I can find. If I can find some used pistons or some used connection rods locally, you know, see if I can get those cheap. If not, I'll just buy some connection rods, I guess. All right, so I guess I'm gonna do that, and I'll be back. All right, folks. So here's where we're at. I haven't been able to find any rods or pistons or pieces and parts. Found some on Facebook Marketplace here in the local area. Nothing with a price that I'm willing to pay. And it's all like really good performance stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm not throwing really good performance stuff in just a bone stock motor. The really good performance stuff comes down the road. So I did find some new rods on, I think it was Jegs. They had some, they're in stock, they're ready to go. Only thing is I got to verify, you know, the rod length and the wrist pin diameter and all that fun crap, just to make sure I order the right thing. And I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, 'cause today's, it's weekend. Uh, wait and actually call their support line or their customer whatever line and talk with them and say, hey, here's what I need. Help me find the right thing. So yeah, it sucks. I'm gonna have to spend, a couple $100 more on this guy. I think the set that I found was like $250, but they're in stock. They're ready to go. So I just order those guys, and then we'll just, these are just, they're here. So yeah. But I did get the crank polished out, so the crank's ready to go. Hosed it down with some more fluid film, and then bagged it and put a zip tie around the bottom. Let that guy sit and keep dust and moisture and all that other crap off of it. So I guess next thing I'm going to do is wait on parts again. And then I still got cleaning up and painting and fixing on all the little accessory pieces. So valve covers, I went through and kind of got some of the rust off the inside of them. Timing cover, got to go through and clean that guy up, get him ready for some paint. The dampener, I got to get that cleaned up too. So went through, cleaned all that stuff up the other day. I even cleaned out the oil pan, and yeah, she was pretty dirty. The amount of crap that came out of that was impressive. So got all that stuff cleaned up, and so it kind of getting ready to start working on painting some of the accessories, I guess you could say. They're not really accessories, but valve cover, timing cover, oil pan, trying to get that stuff ready so it's ready to get painted, and then it's done. I can just set it off to the side and it's ready to go on whenever I'm ready for it. But next things on the list that we're got to get done is got to get the block prepped and ready for paint along with the heads. Got to get that stuff ready to go. Like I said, we're just going black for now, just because it's a consistent color that I don't have to worry about changing the color, down the road. And then I got to get these headers prepped up, since they came with the shipping paint on them, but this stuff is not heat rated, so it'll bake right off. So I think what we're going to do on those is we're just going to cook the paint off of it. I've seen videos of guys that have basically bolted them up to the motor, ran the motor, breaking the cam, whatever. Basically gets them good and hot, and then it cooks off the paint just doing that way. Yeah, I really don't want to put headers on and then cook them up and then take them back off and then scuff them and paint them and all that. So I think what I'm going to do is I've got the little torch thing for the weeds. I've got that guy sitting here, and that gets pretty hot. So I may take that and start cooking on those guys and try to bake that shipping paint off of it. Don't know if that'll work or not. We'll see. It'd be better than trying to sand it all off. That'll take forever. So, so yeah, that'll probably be in an upcoming video. We'll start working on getting pieces and parts cleaned up and ready to paint and painted. And hopefully get to where we can get the block painted up a little bit, or at least get a coat of paint on it, so that way it's ready to go. Then we can start on reassembly, maybe. So yeah, that's what's coming up. But next weekend, Battle in Bama. So getting ready to head down to Mobile for the Battle in Bama. It's a really big show down there at the USS Alabama, which is there in the bay there at Mobile. So that's going to be a good time. I went 2 years ago, and it was a really, really cool time. A lot of fun. But I've got to get Big John pulled in and get him prepped and get him ready to go. I got to do oil change, tire rotation, double check all my brakes. Just kind of a go around. Make sure everything's in good shape. I know my alignment's way off. And I don't know if it's because of a poorly packed set of wheel bearings on that guy, or if they're just trashed or what, but I've got one tire that's, it's damn near smooth. So, so got to rotate the tires, but, figure might as well get in there and repack bearings and double check all that stuff anyways. So, so that's what I'm fixing to get ready to do, is, work on that. So that'll probably be video next week, is working on Big John and getting him ready to go for a road trip. So anyhow, I do appreciate y'all guys watching. Look for, like I said, next week, some Big John work, and maybe some coverage on the Battle in Bama. That may be the following week, though. I'm not 100% sure just yet. Depends on how long it takes me to edit all that stuff. So anyways, I do appreciate y'all watching. Means a bunch. If you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed and you like seeing a guy figuring crap out as he goes and tearing up stuff and costing himself more money, hit the subscribe thing down there. So anyways, I do appreciate it. Y'all guys have a good week, and we'll see y'all next week. And just remember, it ain't got to be perfect. It's just got to be good enough. And we'll see y'all later.